Welcome to an audience with ISAA. Happy viewing.
Hi everyone, happy Easter. Today's Easter Sunday is fantastic. So we're back for another episode of an audience with ISAA. And today I have got a special friend with me, Dr. T, as I like to call her. Chosen actually is about moving on after a breakup as a strong single professional woman. So there's something really special about this lady that I have to say, especially given the circumstances that we currently are in, which is why we're having remote interviews, which is why we're digging deep to make sure that we can keep encouraging ourselves. Dr. T is, she's one of the special people, and I know there's so many special people all over the world at the moment. And by that, I'm referencing the situation with COVID. Dr. T, as a medical officer, she's right in the front line of the fight against COVID in Canada, where she's based. I've seen this lady wearing a PPE kit, and when I saw that, gosh, I was really scared. And it finally dawned on me, you know, what the situation with coronavirus, what it really is. So I would just, Dr. T, I would just really like to appreciate you. I want to say a huge thank you on behalf of everyone that might get to watch this show of ours. I just want to say that you're really truly appreciated. You know, you're a consummate professional, that I know. But the fact that you put yourself on the line on a day-to-day basis to save other people, kudos to you. One of the points that I've just got to mention is, as much as you're on the front line, you know, I've never seen someone that's been so engaged in helping me to put this program together. What I wanted to make is, where Dr. T is concerned, is our so positive nature. So even though we've got this serious COVID event, which all medical personnel are fighting, she's been so much behind me, supporting me, pushing me to carry on working on this project. You know, to keep happy. She's not just only a technical medical professional, but she's also wrapped around that much of an emotional well-being into it. So, Dr. T, I can't say, I really can't. I don't know how to express my appreciation to you in so many ways, but I also thank you for coming on the show. So
thank you so much for having me on the show, Adeleke. It's really a pleasure to be part of this beautiful vision of yours. One, to keep busy, and two, to do that thing that you love. My relationship with you dates back to well over 2 decades. Starting from the late 80s at the Federal Government Girls College in Akure.
Yes.
It was really nice to reconnect again in Dubai with you about a year ago when we had our big reunion.
2 years ago,
Thank
actually. 2 years ago now.
Kidding me, 2 years.
2018.
It's 2 years ago. So it's really good to reconnect with you. And I'm so glad about what you're doing and feel very fortunate to be a part of it. So by introduction, my name is Dr. Eyitope Roberts Fagite. I am an indigene of Ondo State in Western Nigeria. Mm-hmm. I was born in Lagos to late Pa Victor Afolabi Roberts and Mrs. Onuda Mola Bolabode Roberts of blessed memory. Wow. I was born on Lagos Island, and I actually grew up, spent my early years on Cameron Road in Ikoyi. My father worked at the Ministry of Aviation, and my mom worked as a civil servant with NEPA, or National Electric Power Authority at the time. Okay. Unfortunately, my father had to retire early from work, and therefore we moved out of Lagos Island to Yaba on the mainland. I spent a few years on Hughes Avenue, that was where the house was, and had my primary education there. We moved to Surulere again on the mainland. When I was about 9 years old, I completed my primary education. I actually went to school. Of course, I went to the Federal Government Girls College, Akure, my town of origin, Ondo State. And it was a girls' school. We had a blast. We were all sheltered growing up, so we were really not exposed to a lot of things. All about just go to school, read your books, and leave. For tertiary education, I went to the University of Lagos. I was fortunate to be admitted to study medicine and surgery, and I graduated from the college in 1995.
Can I just stop you? Can I just stop you there, because you omitted something very important. As you said before, we were both at Fagite together, and I'm going to have to say this. Talk where you were you were clearly one of the most outstanding students of our time. So I just wanted to put it out there. So success has been following you at a very early age.
Absolutely. I will talk more about that a little later, because I really see myself as a very driven person. I always wonder where all that came from. While I was in Akure, I actually got the federal government scholarship, which meant I only had to pay fees for 5 years because we were guinea pigs. If you remember, we had fun. We made the best of it, of the 6 people and went ahead to university to study medicine and surgery. Graduated in 1995, and I decided, because of my love for academics, to pursue a master's in public health, which I did at the University of Lagos. For some reason, was just determined that I didn't want to stay in Nigeria for postgraduate studies. I didn't feel that Nigeria would give me the opportunity I needed to be on the world stage. So I wanted to leave the country. I thought the healthcare system was bad.
Yes.
Looking back, I think it was actually good when we compared to what we have today, unfortunately. I went to the United Kingdom and took the entrance exams to start my residency. I was fortunate to get admitted into the general practice vocational training scheme at the West Midlands. So I moved to a place called Staffordshire in the West Midlands, where I did my postgraduate training. During my postgraduate training, I actually won an award from the National Institute of Health Research to carry out some studies about deprivation and seeking consultations with family doctors. So that was enabled me to actually get a master's in medical science, and then I completed my general practice training. At the end of my training, the institute still wanted me to stay back. So I was fortunate to be in one of the top 10 universities of the United Kingdom called the Keele University. There I did another master's and got an MPhil at the university.
Wow.
I carried on with my medical clinical practice in England, and I was recruited by one of the first Darcy centers in the West Midlands to serve as a clinical director. So while in England, I was actually the clinical director of this walking clinic, and I stayed there for about 3 years. I had to try the US exams, which I cleared. I did 3 stages of the exams of the United States of America, commonly called the USM. But due to certain circumstances, going to America really wasn't for me at that time. So I continued to work in England until I was asked, in fact begged, to come to North America, where they were really struggling to have doctors work. So in 2013, I was afraid because I was already at the peak of my career. I had a wonderful job. I was a clinical director, earning a 6-figure salary. And I was like, why would I leave England?
Fantastic.
But I felt I had a plateau, and I just needed some more adventure. Therefore, I took on the bold step to move to Canada in February of 2013.
Well done.
And all I can say is that I am so glad I made the move. I'm happy today. I'm a business owner. I'm independent. I'm doing what I love.
Really inspirational. Really inspirational. Brilliant. Brilliant. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction.
We'll be moving on to the topic, moving on after a breakup, coping as a strong, single, professional woman. My introduction would probably have painted someone that's, really successful, a go-getter, a very focused person, an intelligent girl. But, there's always a flip side to everything. So I've got my own flip side. And one of the reasons why I'm here today is just to discuss some of that flip side. Let's go back to when I was in Fagite. That is what we call our secondary school that we attended. We were sheltered. We were all girls.
Yes.
And we were very sheltered. We lived more or less a regimented lifestyle. We were very protected. The only times we went home was when we had midterm,
Yes.
or when we had to go for our semester vacations. So I grew up pretty sheltered, and like most African parents, my mother was pretty strict.
We all lived that reality.
Absolutely. You can't even dream of it, you know.
Yeah.
And my mom was pretty strict that way. So looking back, actually the first time I met a guy was when I went to a summer school, which was usually organized by university undergraduates during the summer holidays. So I met this guy that asked me to dance, and I must have been blushing through anyway. That didn't go. Went back to particular.
Yes.
Just face react.
Yes.
So the first time I can say I got into a serious relationship was when I was in medical school. I was probably in my third year then. And the other flip side of me was the religion.
Yes.
So I had grown up in a place or an environment where, you know, you just had to, I believe in God, I still believe in God,
Yes.
where you have to be really religious, where there were very strict rules about dating, touching, holding, and all of that. So it was pretty strict. I met this guy in fellowship, and to cut a long story short, we courted for 5 years and we got married. I was the single, pure, beautiful, intelligent girl.
Yes.
No idea of what marriage was like, but went into it because that was the next thing. When
Yes.
after you've done school, you've done your house job, you graduated, everybody's asking, what are you still doing? You should be married now.
Yes.
So of course I got married. I got married to someone that was ordained a pastor. I got married coming from a Christian background.
Yes.
And the first challenge I had was actually infertility. I couldn't get pregnant, and I had to ask God, how come I can't get pregnant? Anyway, we went through the ups and downs, investigations and all, and eventually after 4 years of being married, I got pregnant. This marriage was already facing a lot of issues. Fortunately, thinking of my career and my work and my family life, there were lots of ups and downs, which
Yes.
eventually led to the breakdown of my marriage, unfortunately. And the main reason, I don't want to blame just the one person. I had my faults. I was green. I really didn't know how to be sexy. Unfortunately, my husband left, and at the time I had a 3-year-old daughter. And that was really, really devastating.
Wow.
There was infidelity.
Yes.
It was really. And the infidelity wasn't even with an outsider. It was with someone that was very well known to me.
Oh dear.
And I think that made it very, very, very difficult.
Let me just stop you there, because you know you've said so much, and it's so deep. I'm so glad, and you know, obviously we are good friends, but you've been very open about your experiences. So I just wanted to go back a little bit and say, you know, given how lucky you are, and you continue to be, and you will continue to be, how did you feel? You know, how did you feel at that point when you realized my marriage is over? Actually, I failed at this, because effectively that's what it is. You know, what was your feeling at that point?
Absolutely. I felt personally that I had done everything perfectly. You know, I had gone to school. I didn't get pregnant out of wedlock. This was my first serious relationship. This was a Christian like me. Everything seemed absolutely perfect. So I was very disappointed that, oh my gosh, even as a believer, this can happen to you.
Yes.
Being a Christian doesn't insulate you from breakups. I felt I had failed, like you said, Princess. I had failed. And I actually felt rejection like I'd never ever felt before.
Wow.
So I felt that I thought I was good. In the eyes of the world, I was good. But how come this guy rejected me? How come this guy didn't just reject me, but rejected my daughter that had taken us such a long time to even give birth to?
Yeah.
And that was very, very difficult. And being a doctor, I knew I went into depression. I went into deep depression.
So sorry to hear that. But that I just wanted to tease out that, and I'm happy you're being very open. And I guess with the benefit of hindsight, one can now assess how you felt. But what you've just picked out there for me, and just to say before you continue, is that every single one of us have to learn to cope with disappointment at one point or the other.
So I went into deep depression, but I'm so grateful for one person in my life who's gone to be with the Lord now. That's my mother.
Oh.
My mother never ever gave up. My mother kept praying, and she kept hoping, and she kept supporting me. Even when I pushed her away and said, "Mom, this is not your business, I'm an adult," she knew my pain, and she was just there for me. She was my anchor. She was there. There was a time she came to the UK for about 6 months just to babysit and look after my daughter while I did my residency training. So I can say through that all, even when I couldn't connect with my friends, a few of my friends would call me, and of course they just had to leave me because they didn't understand. It was so bad that I became suicidal. And being a doctor, I knew exactly how to kill myself if I wanted to. So I was alone in the house with my daughter, and I'll have thoughts that would say, "Go end it all. You're a failure anyway. Your husband doesn't want you. You're all by yourself. Can't you see how much of a failure you've been?" And I started to struggle with these thoughts. And there was a time, the thoughts was to me, go down there and end it all. And I knew exactly what to do if I wanted to kill myself. But it must have been my mother's prayers and just God looking down on me from there and telling me, "You know what? You do not have to end this."
And I may interject at this point, which is why it's good to give your background as well, because what you've just what you've talked about just now, depression, leading on to suicidal thoughts and stuff. What I have to say is, given our background, given our joint background, one of the things that we learned in a rigid boarding house is how to be tough. This is really deep, but one of the things I just wanted to say is, yes, you're quite right. Your mom was praying for you. God was there, keeping really taking care of you. But all the training instilled into you by your parents, and by that school we went to, where our life was so constrained, so rigid. It was all to teach us about how to be strong when you're facing a challenge. And everything you've just described is a huge challenge. I still feel, oh my God, what my beautiful friend with that beautiful smile must have gone through. So I'm so glad you didn't give in to any of those crazy thoughts and didn't do anything like that, because you're here today and really successful. So I'll just ask the question then, really, that at which point, because you've said at which point did you decide enough of that pity party? I'm a go-getter. I was born to be a success. Identify that in your journey.
Absolutely. Thank you for that question. That's a good one, Isa. I think I felt that when I was at my lowest, when I was actually really down in the dumps. And medicine, when we assess patients and want to know how suicidal they are, we kind of look for reasons why they should be alive. So I think I got to a point where I said to myself, what have you got to gain if you are alive? Why would you not do this to yourself? And of course I thought about my daughter.
Yes.
My daughter that had been, rejected by her own father.
Yeah.
My daughter that was a special gift from God after 4 years of infertility. And I just felt it's not worth it. I can fight. And I decided enough is enough of the pity party. And I also started to look at positive qualities in me.
Fantastic.
Positive things about me, that the fact that a guy left, it's not the end of the world.
Yes.
I am still somebody.
Yes.
I am still a person I am beautiful.
Yes.
The Bible says I am beautifully and wonderfully made. I am intelligent. I am a mother. I am a daughter. I am still someone to so many people.
Oh, yes.
Therefore,
Oh, yes. Beautifully encouraging. Wow. 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 It's such a turnaround.
It is. And I think in my family as well, unfortunately, I had a half sister that was in the same situation and committed suicide.
Oh, wow.
Her daughter was 3 at the time. And so when I look back at that, my niece, and I'm like, no, I've got to fight this battle. I don't want to end up like my late sister, because she was deeply depressed as well. And unfortunately, she took her own life. So that was just a reminder to me that, giving up, walking away, may seem a good option, but there are always better options.
Yes.
And I decided to choose the better option. And I'm glad I did.
And I'm going to clap for you. I'm going to clap for you again. Because right in front of me is a survivor. And not just only a survivor, but a survivor par excellence. So, wow, it's what you've just shared now is so deep, and I hope is resonating. I hope it will resonate with so many people that whatever it is you're going through, you can conquer. You just have to dig deep. So one other question, really, that thinking about, because in the space of 15 minutes, we've talked about, how successful you've been, how hard, and it's not just, your success wasn't dropped on your laps. You've always been a hard worker. You've always gone the extra mile. And as you said, sheltered, everything that needed to happen happened. Got married, yes, even though you had the challenge with getting pregnant and having a child, you still succeeded at it. And then only for things to turn around, and what you really so much believed in, having a husband of your own, independence, believing in this person, everything just went down like that. I'll tell you what I've observed is that in all the times things were going down, you were still going off to do all this masters, you were still going off to do all this, you were still academically delivering, you were still delivering. So what I'm going to say is, what advice would you give, given your experience, what would you tell the next person that's currently going through what you went through? Because there are definitely many people that are going through what you've gone through. What would you say to them with the experience you've got?
Thank you very much, and that's a really good question, Isa. The first thing is just to acknowledge that this happened to you, and to ensure that in your mind and physically, mentally, you end it. If a guy has left and walked out of your life, you need to acknowledge that thing is done. That's the first thing. Second thing to discuss is that you should never, ever give up. Never give up on yourself. Never give up on your talents. Never give up on your abilities. Never give up on your career. Never give up on that thing that you love. What you just need to do is redirect your energy positively. Because as long as you think about the person that has left, you are diverting your energy and using up your energy negatively.
Wow.
You can also divert that energy, like I did, into improving your career, into starting a trade, into learning a skill, whatever it is. Just make sure you don't stay down in that dump. You come out of it and you reinvent and find yourself again.
Wow.
Because you were somebody before you got married to that person. You were somebody before you got into that relationship. You got to go back and find that person. And divert energy into something that's going to be helpful for you, instead of diverting it into something that's just going to suck the life out of you.
Thank you so much. Wow. Honestly, what you've just said there just completely blows me away, which is divert your energy to something positive. It's that simple. Divert your energy to something positive. So guys, irrespective of what you may be going through, what we might be going through, And actually, given our current situation with COVID, how fearful we all are, how disbelieving of the current situation, what Dr. T has just shared with us of our personal experience means, in this situation, in any situation, divert your energy to something positive. So that's how to get out of depression, disappointment, and things just not going right. Wow, Dr. T, you've shared so much with me today. I'm just really grateful for this information, for this sharing of your experience that you've brought out. So I just have one other question, actually, because we've covered all of this very detailed topic in about 30 minutes. I'm going to ask you a question. Being a woman of achievement, when are you planning to write a book about all of this?
Oh my gosh, I have actually written a book, ISAA.
Oh wow!
I have written a book where I have gone into a lot more detail about everything about my life's journey, just to encourage one person out there. The book will be launched in June.
Oh wow! Do you know what? I'm so excited now that I said it, because I did not know that you were planning on writing a book or launching a book. All I just know is that you're such a determined lady that I'm thinking Tope cannot be holding on to this much information. I'm sure she's writing it down somewhere. This is time to plug it. So guys, are you listening? Dr. T is coming out with a book in June. So we've all got to get it. We've all got to read it. We've all got to learn from it.
Absolutely. So the manuscript is currently with the editors. We're working on it, and hopefully the book will be out in June. And I'm sure Princess ISAA will give me the privilege of using her platform to spread the word about the book, because it's either you will be blessed by it, or someone else that you know, or someone that knows somebody will really be inspired by my life story and my journey.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. So I'm really looking forward to it. So, wow, fantastic. So I'm just going to bring our discussion to a close, and I will say a huge thank you. I've personally gained, outside of your experience, I've gained a lot from just knowing you. I've gained a lot from being able to tap into your energy. I've gained a lot from being able to work with you, because you're such a easygoing person who has achieved, and you have achieved. You're an achiever in your professional life. You're an achiever in your personal life. You're a go-getter. You're someone that doesn't give up. So I just want to say a huge, huge thank you, and happy Easter.
Happy Easter, Princess ISAA. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
So ladies, I'm at work right now. Seriously, we all need to pray. This is serious pandemic. Nothing like this has been seen for the last 10 years, 100 years. I actually woke up this morning with a song in my heart, and I'm going to share that song with you. And it says, Ìjà parí ogun ti tán, Olùgbàlà jagun mólú, orin ayọ̀ la ó máa kọ, hallelujah. Let's pray a prayer of thanksgiving. Let's pray a prayer of hope. Let's pray a prayer of faith. And for every single health worker out there, be strong, be faithful. We've got to do what we've got to do. We crave your prayers, not just for the health workers, but for the whole wide world. Rise up, call your children, your husband, pray for us, and God indeed will give us deliverance. Amen.